All right, hello physical science students, and welcome to your first video lecture. And this video lecture is all about properties and changes of matter. So to begin, first we're going to start off with properties. And we have two types of properties that define matter. We have physical properties and chemical properties. Now, physical properties, all they do is they're just describing whatever matter we're working with, okay? And they include things like the shape of the matter, the color of the matter, the mass of the matter, the volume of the matter, and the density of the matter. This word density, we're going to be getting into more detail with what density is, but just note that that is a physical property of matter. Now, there's a few key things with physical properties. We can typically observe them with our senses, and we can also determine these physical properties without destroying the matter. So our matter we can keep totally intact, and we can identify physical properties of that matter. So key thing here with physical properties is that they just describe the matter. Basically, whatever that thing looks like, feels like, those are physical properties. Now, chemical properties, they also describe matter, but specifically they describe how a substance changes into a new substance when in contact with other substances, okay? So the key here with chemical properties is that matter is going to be changed into a new substance after some type of reaction, okay? So matter will be changed into a new substance. All right, now some examples of chemical properties. We have this thing called reactivity, and this is just the ability for a substance to combine chemically with another substance. Flammability is the ability for an object to start on fire in the presence of oxygen. Okay, so there's a reaction going on there. Heat of combustion is just how much heat is actually given off due to some type of reaction. The final example of chemical properties on here is oxidation, and right now oxidation is a little outside our realm. But an example of oxidation would be if you see a car that has a lot of rust on it. Well, rust is a result of oxidation. So there's some examples of chemical properties. Understand that chemical properties do describe the matter, but specifically they describe how that substance actually changes into a new substance when it's put into contact with other substances. All right, now moving on from properties, we have these things called physical and chemical changes. Big key with physical change is that no new substance is formed, okay? There's probably only going to be a change in size, shape, or state. Okay, so an example of a physical change would be, cutting a piece of bread. Okay, we're not, that piece of bread is still a piece of bread, but we just changed the size of the bread, or we just changed the shape of the bread. So physical change, no new substance is formed. Whatever we had before, we have after. Now with chemical changes, these are a little bit more interesting. Chemical changes, we actually get a new substance. And because that we have a new substance, that new substance no longer has the same physical or chemical properties that it did before, okay? So a chemical change is just a change that occurs when a substance actually changes composition by forming either one or more new substances. Now, how do we tell if a chemical change actually occurs? Well, there's a few different indicators, okay? First, if we combine two or more substances together, if we see a production of gas, we know that a chemical change has probably occurred. If some heat is given off, again, we know a chemical change has occurred. If there's sound that's being produced, again, a chemical change probably occurred. And then if we see light, a chemical change has also probably occurred. So depending on the chemical reaction that's going on there, we could see all of these, we could see one of these, we could see two of these. But if we see one of these indicators, that's a good sign that a chemical change has actually occurred. Now, a really important thing with chemical changes is that many chemical changes, sorry about that, many chemical changes are impossible to reverse. So most chemical changes are impossible to reverse. So a good example that I like to use is, can we unbake a cake? No, we cannot unbake a cake. So baking a cake would be an example of a chemical change. Okay, we combine a bunch of substances, a reaction occurred, and we actually get a new substance. We get the cake. Okay, so big keys here. Difference between physical change and chemical change. Physical change, no new substance is formed. Whatever you had before, you have after. Chemical change, whatever you had before, you no longer have after that change occurs. Okay, it's a totally new substance. All right, so here, this video presented our formal definitions for physical properties and chemical properties, as well as physical changes and chemical changes. We're going to be practicing identifying these various things in the coming days. So please write down any additional questions you may have, but I hope that this video kind of shed some light on these things and made them a little clearer for you. All right, take care.